Stuck on the side of the interstate far from home dealing with an emergency. Most people would call 911, but one man was hesitant, wary of what could go wrong. Turns out making that call showed him all that's right with the world. Matthew Evans's first trip to Little Rock wasn't exactly planned. In fact, it was an emergency.
I booked the first flight and just went there with no clothes, nothing.
Evans, who lives in Maryland, says he got a concerning call from his brother who recently moved to Little Rock. He says his brother suffers from mental illness and he knew instantly something wasn't right.
I am a man of faith. I believe in God, and I believe that God called me to save him from where he was and bring him home.
Evans made it to Little Rock and picked up his brother. But on the way back to the airport, he says his brother got upset, got out of the car, and started walking down the street.
I had two options: to let him be there and just, let him be there alone, or follow him.
For several miles, Evans remained close behind, trying to get his brother back in the car. But when he reached Interstate 30, he knew it was time to call for help.
I was a little bit hesitant because there's a lot of misconceptions about the police. Like everybody, I was afraid. I didn't want anything to happen to him, but I did not want him to get killed. That help quickly arrived in the form of 4 Arkansas State Police troopers. They responded right away. They came. There was this one officer, I still don't remember his name, but he was a very big guy, intimidating at first, but sweet at last.
Trooper Jeb Little, standing not so little at 6'2", was one of them.
Yeah, I get that. Yes, ma'am.
With a little coaxing and patiently navigating a language barrier, in less than 15 minutes, the troopers were able to convince the brother to get off the interstate and to a nearby gas station.
They didn't speak Spanish, but they tried their best to try to explain to my brother that they were not there to harm, to do anything bad to him, that they were just trying to help.
It was one of those situations where you just needed more love and just a calm, gentle hand to it instead of the usual trooper approach.
Sergeant Charles Lewis, who has 27 years on the force, commends his younger officers for how they handled the situation.
I think that was the neatest thing about watching them, because really they've not had any formal training. It was just, they were just strictly trying to communicate.
And he wasn't the only one watching.
Your compassion and bravery to assist this individual is a shining example of what makes our law enforcement second to none.
Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders also taking note, offering the troopers a letter of gratitude. But it was this surprise thank you that brought the troopers to tears.
It's just a blessing, and I think your work is very difficult, and the fact that I can do this, it means a lot to me and my family.
An unexpected encounter on an Arkansas interstate.
Because in a way they were our guardian angels. They saved my brother's life, definitely.
But instead of wings, these angels wear badges, helping steer this story in a positive direction and guide these brothers home.
Hey, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, sir. I like your shirt, by the way. Thank you. Pleasure.
And some great news. Matthew says his brother is back home safe in the care of doctors, getting the help he needs.
A great story and a perfect example of things that troopers, law enforcement, whether they're sheriff's deputies or police officers, things that they do all the time.
Yeah.
That doesn't get the
don't
coverage.
Get seen. Yeah.
One of those things.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been seen if Matthew hadn't reached out, contacted Arkansas State Police, and even contacted the governor's office.
And it's too that misconception when it comes to law enforcement and taking that leap of faith and saying that's where I need to go. And of course, Arkansas State Troopers, the best in the country.
Yes,
great
they
job.
are.